Hello everyone. My name is Karthik. I am GSEO co-founder,
Hi guys, my name is Uchar, CEO and the founder of GSEO.
and we are here today to interview Samantha. Samantha is an incoming transfer student at Yale University, planning to double major in econ and political science. Originally from the Rio Grande Valley, Samantha started her academic journey at the University of Texas at Austin. Her interest in economics and political science was sparked by her course at UT Austin, leading her to pursue a top-notch liberal arts education at Yale.
Yes, this incredible person is here with us today. Without further ado, shall we dig and learn more about her? Yes, Samantha, can you briefly introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, of course. My name is Samantha. So I come from the Rio Grande Valley. It's like a border town by the Texas-U.S. border. I'm Mexican American. I'm also first generation, so I'm the first one in my family to ever go to college on both of my parental sides.
Oh,
So I'm excited about that. Yeah, so I'm going to be majoring in econ and political science, and I'm going to do a joint program. So at the moment, I do plan to go for an MBA and GED degree after undergrad at Yale.
that's very interesting to know about it. As I was going through your LinkedIn, I was able to find that you made your research paper about how translation affects Mexican American children's development. Can you perhaps discuss your motive behind this research paper? Like, why did you decide this topic?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, for my research basically for like the research paper and just like in regards to the research as a whole, we're basically analyzing Mexican American children who translate for their parents in regards of like the Spanish language. So they're language brokering. So basically we're just trying to find like the results and we through the research we've just basically found that it has both good and bad sides and they're interconnected. It just depends on how it's perceived. So if you see it in a good light, you're gonna be empowered. But if you see it more in a negative way, they're gonna feel a sense of burden and isolated because they're trying to incorporate both languages in their life.
Interesting. And your job there was, if I remember it right, it was data management behind it. So
Mhm.
can you perhaps explain more about your job? Like, what
Yeah,
did you
of course.
actually do?
So in my job, I was basically just transcribing data. So I was working behind the scenes, and through it, I was basically able to translate and transcribe the data. So basically, essentially, all I basically did was I would get all the Google Docs and the Excel spreadsheets from the actual children who were actually recorded in regards to their Spanish and English language brokering skills. After that, I just really analyzed it, and I would incorporate certain symbols and like rules that we had to basically see the accuracy they had from English to Spanish and vice versa. So yeah, that was basically what I did in short.
Hmm. Was that research experience your first time to manage the entire big data, or did you actually have like another experience before that, prior to that?
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. So basically this was my first time. I have never been
Hmm.
exposed to like data management or anything. So I was a bit scared at the beginning just because I've never been exposed to any of it. But I had trainers, so I was trained for about a month. I think I did about 10 hours before I was actually a transcriber. So it was really honestly it was really fun and I also increased my literacy of like Excel spreadsheet mannerisms, so
Oh,
that was really cool. And in regards to like what I want to plan to do now, I'm actually thinking of getting a minor in data science at Yale. So if anything, that like is interconnected. So yeah.
oh, okay, very interesting. And you did this research with a project called SEED. What was your motivation there to work on this research paper with that project?
Yeah, so I would say my motivation was just the fact that growing up, my first language is Spanish. So I usually would always translate for my parents growing up, and I feel like it's something I could really take into consideration and put myself in their shoes. So I just wanted to see what was like the outcome, and the outcome was essentially that it has both good and bad results. It's just depending on how you perceive the results and the light of it. So it could be both good and bad, just depending on how you perceive it.
Oh, can you perhaps like discuss more about that project SEED? Like, is that opportunity given to all students at UT Austin, or did you just pursue after or like seek to find it? How did you find this opportunity?
Yeah, so I basically found Project C at UT Austin. So I took a Portuguese class my first semester at UT, and
Hmm.
I had it as an 8 a.m. So I just walked in, and there was this lady that was actually just talking about it, and she came out of nowhere, and she was a presenter for the actual program. And she was just talking about it recruiting. And I came in a bit late, so I didn't know what was going on. But she left the pamphlet, so I looked in the pamphlet. I contacted her, and then I had an appointment with her, and they just told me about the program and how it's for UT students, and it's also the largest um, student to ever conduct like research on like language brokering. And right now, we have over 600 families. So yeah, I was very interested in it, so I got into it, and then I was hired, and then I started taking the class, and I really
Oh,
liked it.
600, over 600 families. That's a
Yeah, over
huge number.
600 families.
600 families. That's interesting. Other than the project itself that you have done at Project SID, is there any like unique experience that you have experienced there that you want to share with us?
Unique experiences just in regards of like my first year at UT Austin.
Oh, your specifically your project SID at your project SID during your project SID.
Okay, yeah. So during Project Seed, so aside from transcribing data, I was also a presenter. So I would talk to large crowds, and then aside from that, I would also volunteer at a middle school every week. And I was basically trying to help the kids or the middle schoolers. I think they were all like in seventh, eighth grade. They were all minorities, so I know most of them were from Hispanic ancestry. And we were just basically trying to amplify both their skills in Spanish and English and just embrace them. So that was really, really cool. And I got really, really, really close to the kids. And I still really miss them. When I think back to my experiences at UT my first year, that's probably what I think about the most. It was very time consuming. It was, I think, we would leave UT Austin around like 5 p.m. and we'd get back like four
Oh,
hours afterwards. So it was time consuming, but it was also very worth it.
interesting, interesting. Is there any like a future research topic that you have in your mind that you wanna work on in the future?
Yeah, so I do want to do research in the future. So at Yale, so the Yale Law School, I'm really, really interested in migration pathways. So I actually read this article back in my first year in regards to internal migration versus international migration, and why a lot of Central Americans actually migrate within their own country, but then have to come to the U.S. because they're forced to do so. And I think a lot of politicians forget that they come here not by choice, but because they have to. So that's something I really want to do research on later on, especially because I want to be an immigration lawyer.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
And Kartik, do you have any other questions regarding her research paper?
No, I think that's all. You gave really, really insightful answers, Samantha. So thank you very much for that. Uh,